Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm John.
And we are living in other places. But today, we are living in our van.
We're living in our van because when we travel, we rent out our house. And it is rented until the end of the month, so we're in the van.
So we're in the van. We just returned from a 3-month trip to Uruguay and Argentina. And we had to come home to make some repairs and do some things on our properties. So we had to come and live in the van.
So here we are in the van. Today is a cold, gloomy, cloudy, windy day.
Spring day. It's April 5th today.
A perfect weather day for soup.
So I'm going to make a green chili chicken pozole. That's a classic New Mexico soup.
And it is going to be wonderful.
And I'm going to show you how we cook in the van.
So here's the van. And we'll come on inside and see how the magic works.
This is our van. It's an 18-foot Thor scope. It's pretty small. Not a lot of room to work, but I manage, don't I?
You're very good at this.
So here we have our extra counter space, our little kitchen. Here's our stove. Here we have a little pantry storage. I only have 2 pans in this place, and I have 2 cutting boards, so we're going to use them today. So I'm making a green chili chicken pozole today, and I'll take you through the steps. But the first thing I'm going to do, because we're in a van and we don't have a lot of space, we have a tiny little fridge, I have to kind of go with prepared foods. So in this case, I've got a roasted chicken, and I'm going to debone this and shred it, and then we'll go from there. So here I've got my roasted chicken, and I'm just going to use a knife, use my fingers, and we don't need really small pieces. We can use some larger chunks. Notice that I am going to use most of the skin for this soup. Probably it's not the healthiest thing, but I do like to use a lot of the skin, especially when it's roasted like this. So we're just shredding into large pieces. So I've got half the chicken shredded. So I'm only using half because I have a very small pot. So here's our propane stove. This is the storage over here for the 1 pot with the steamer. That's all that fits in there. We've got the pot. You light this up on low. We're gonna light this up again. Okay, we've got this on low. We're gonna put a little olive oil in. And I'm going to chop up a small onion and a tomato. Okay. I'm chopping, not very small, kind of medium dices, and also the tomato about the same size. Just like this. And because I already have that oil going, I'm going to just put some of this in there now. Just like that. So we've got the onion and the tomato cooking up in that olive oil. Now I'm going to chop up a little bit of onion and put it in a bowl, and this is going to be to put fresh onion on the soup. I know I like onion and cabbage and radish. That's what I like on my pozole. So I've got the, I keep turning this propane stove off. Lowering the heat. So you can see the onions are almost getting to the translucent point. So now I'm going to add Hatch Autumn Roast Green Chili. Normally I would be making my own green chili. I would be roasting it and peeling it and dicing it, but we're in a van, so I can't do that. So we're going to fry this up. This is what it looks like. Let's taste it. That's pretty good. This is hot. So we're putting this in the pot. So by the way, did I tell you all I'm making green chili chicken pozole? So what is pozole? It is a soup that has meat. It can have any kind of meat. I'm used to pozole with, here around in New Mexico, with either chicken or pork. Now I grew up in Northern California and sometimes in Mexico at my mom and dad's ranch. And so my mom cooked, mostly Mexican food. I don't remember my mom ever making pozole. I don't remember ever knowing what pozole was until I came to New Mexico. I grew up on something similar to pozole, which is called menudo. That's a different kind of soup. That's for another day. But when I came to New Mexico, I had pozole and loved it, although I still love menudo more. And so it's got meat, it's got some kind of chili, either a green chili or a red chili, and it's going to have hominy. That's what makes it a pozole, the hominy. There's white. I picked white hominy today. You can also buy the yellow, and many of you in the South might know hominy because of grits. Same stuff. I think we're going to go ahead and add this chicken now. You see that there? We're going to put the chicken in. And we're going to go ahead and also add some water from my Emily cup. So we're going to put that in there. To add a little more flavor, since I didn't cook this chicken, we're going to use a little bit of chicken bouillon. This is the Knorr brand. And we're just going to do that. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. So I've added the water. And before I add any more water to the soup, I'm going to put the 2 cans of hominy in. And I like to actually use the water, the liquid that's in the hominy. Because why not? You're going to add water anyway, might as well use the water that's in the hominy. So we're waiting on the soup to come to a simmer. We're going to add some cumin, cominos. That is my secret ingredient, but not really a secret. I think everybody adds cumin to their pozole. This is what it's looking like so far. We do have one last ingredient that's going to go into this soup at the end. While that comes to a simmer, I am going to open this bag of cabbage. Again, I bought a bag because this is just what's handy when you're living in a van. And I'm going to put a little bit in a bowl. All of these toppings will be placed on the table and everybody can just serve themselves in their bowls. So while we're waiting on the soup to come to a simmer, look at this. Look at that. By the way, there's one more ingredient going in there towards the end. But I am chopping up and eating radish into tiny little cubes. That's a great topping for this soup. I don't usually get the radishes in the local restaurants. I wish I did. So we've got that. And then we're going to take Usually I would use limes, but I've got lemons. And this is also for garnish. Put those in there. Here we go. So the pozole has been simmering for about 30 minutes. So it's almost ready. Remember, we did start out with cooked chicken. So it doesn't need to cook for a long time. Now my secret, not so secret ingredient is spinach. I usually like to add collard greens. This is my own invention. But the bag of collard greens was just too big and I couldn't find any fresh ones. So we went with some spinach. And we'll let this cook maybe another 10 minutes. And we will plate it up. So our pozole is ready. Just turned it off. Now we're going to toast up some bolillos, this Mexican bread. This happens to be wheat. I usually get the white, but all they had was wheat. So I'm going to slice it in half and half again. We're going to use some Irish butter with the Mexican bread. And we'll set that here. Just like that. Let's get this effect. How about that? There we go. Let's melt that butter. There we go. So I like to flatten the bread out as much as possible. Don't ask me why. My mom did it, so that's why I do it. And it's more like a little skinny pita bread. Look at that. That looks delish. So our bread is ready. We've got our table over here, our swivel table. And that is our bedding behind there. So we've got oregano, we've got cabbage, onion, radish, lemon, and some bread. Now we're ready to plate. Look at this. Look how delicious this looks. I love the spinach or any greens in it. It just, besides the green chili, it just really gives it a nice pop of color and a nice flavor. Look at this.
So here we have this wonderful pozole meal. I'm going to put some toppings on it. We'll need some onions. Here's some onions. A little more.
Ooh, he likes a lot of onions in there.
I like a lot of onions. And here's some radishes. Look at that. Some radishes.
Shall I do the honors of the cabbage?
Why don't you do the honors?
There you go.
There we go. And some lemon. Ta-da-ta-ta. There's a little bit there.
Oregano.
And you have some oregano on that. Here we are.
Look at that.
That
Wow.
is a feast. So
Let's
let's
see.
try it.
Look at that. Did you get radish?
I did get radish. There's some right there. Mm-hmm.
Is that delicious?
That is really good.
Look at that. Then you could dip the bread in it. That's what I like to do. Dip a little bit of the bread.
So it has the chicken, and the green chili gives it some bite, and the onions and the radishes give it some extra flavor. The lemon helped a lot. And now we'll dip it and see how that works out. Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
Oh, that was so good.
Okay, it's my turn. Radish, some cabbage, some onion, lemon. I just throw my lemon in. And some oregano.
Look at that. That is a meal fit for a queen.
Let's see. Let's see how good it is. Oh, yeah. Isn't that what everybody's doing these days? Slurping up on all the TikToks and everything? That's what they do. Mm-hmm.
That's really good,
That's
isn't
very
it?
good.
You've outdone yourself.
So this was my green chili chicken spinach pozole. #van life version. Thank you for watching.